Namaste. A warm and a good evening to all of you, to all the viewers, and the artist of the day, Dr. Vijay Madhavanji. Namaste and welcome to Sankatha, a forum where an introduction and an evolution and the works of male artists, Bharatanatyam artists of our own country and abroad are being, telecasted. We welcome you all very heartily for this occasion. वाचामतीतं फणिभूषणाङ्गं गणेशतातं धनदास्य मित्रं कन्दर्पनाशं कमलोत्पलाक्षं चिदम्बरेशं हृदि भावयामि. We meditate on the Lord of Chidambaram, who is beyond words, who wears the serpent as ornament, who is the father of Ganesha, who is the friend of Kubera, who destroys the pride and our ahankaram in us, and who has eyes like the lotus flower. We bow down to that Paramatma to give us all the strength and make this today's evening a more fruitful one with a great conversation with the consummate artist, Dr. Vijay Madhavanji. I take a few moments to introduce this artist. It's a matter of pride, and I think he doesn't require an introduction, but still, just to respect his work, I'm just reading out some from his great plethora of work which he's been doing. The dancer in the cast of the famous patriotic song Sindamil Nadu, a popular rendition by cine playback legends Chitra and Srinivas in the curtain raiser of Jaya TV. Since the launch of the channel in 1999, the telecast has been connoisseurs' delight with lush green serene landscapes and noteworthy locations in Tamil Nadu. And Dr. Vijay Madhavan played the lead role, choreographed the song, and designed the costumes. Shri Vijay Madhavanji is a Bharatanatyam artist, researcher, and a choreographer with a performing career of 35 years. He's been a recipient of Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar by Sangeet Natak Academy, an apex body of culture in India. He's an A graded Doordarshan artist, also holds a doctorate degree in dance research from Sri Chandrasekhara Vishwa Mahavidyalaya. He is also a recipient of the Junior Research Fellow Program instituted by the Government of India, also the coveted Tagore Scholarship, which is being constituted by Ministry of Culture for a unique documentation project which he took up. Natyagraphy, the name well known amongst the dancers and the researchers of today, is an innovative documentation methodology which is curated, owned, and copyrighted by him, and a great contribution to the field of Bharatanatyam. He holds the copyright trademark for this technique. He's also an empaneled artist with ICCR, Indian Council for Cultural Relationships. He's a regular participant at Melator Bhagavata Mela Festival for over 3 decades from now, and he has served in several prestigious universities in and across India, and also a doctor committee member in Wales University. He has served as the external examiner for the doctoral degree at the Central University of Hyderabad and also a visiting faculty at Kalakshetra and University of Madras. He has been presenting and already has presented various several scholarly papers at both national and international seminars and conferences. He has been a great performer too. Some of the major performances of his include his performances at Birmingham Festival, Kalanidhi Festival Toronto, Mamallapuram Festival, Purush Festival organized by Krishna Gana Sabha, Katha Bharatam and Kavya Bharatam Natyarangam Festival, Parampariya Poshikangal, Global Organization for Divinity, Spirit of Youth Festival by Madras Music Academy, Natarajotsava Festival organized by Dr. Vasundhara Doraiswamy in Mysore, Ramayana International Conference, and he's been a regular feature in both the national and international festivals of dance and has extensively toured USA, UK, Germany, Canada, Singapore, Malaysia, and Sri Lanka, to name a few countries which he has visited. His contribution to Bhagavata Mela as an artist has been appreciated by veterans of the art form like Dr. Padma Subramaniam, Professor C.V. Chandrasekhar, Dhanjayans, Dr. Vepati Chinnasatyam, Professor Nataraja Ramakrishna, Dr. Uma Ramarao, Srimati R. Vedavalli, amongst all others to include. He has great merits and awards and accolades to his credit till date. Some of them to name is the Senior National Scholarship for Dance between the year 1999 to 2001, the Best Dancer Award 1996 by the Indian Fine Arts Society, Chennai, the Best Youth Award by VDS Arts Academy, Chennai, Yuvakala Bharati All-Rounder Award by Bharat Kalachar, Chennai, Nritya Kala Bharati by Samskar Bharati, Hyderabad, Shakha, Vasanta Lakshmi Narasimhachari Endowment Award by the Narada Gana Sabha, Chennai, T. Balasaraswati Endowment Award by Krishna Gana Sabha, Chennai, Nartaka Nipuna by Abhay, Association of Bharatanatyam Artists of India, and the most coveted Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar by Sangeet Natak Academy, New Delhi. And he has received several grants for his productions, which have been critically acclaimed all across the world. Today, he is very well known for his new methodology of documenting moves and movements in Bharatanatyam, be it adavus or long items like varnams, be it anything. There is a methodology which is a coded methodology which he has brought in, the Natyography. He is the Brahma of this Natyography, as we can say. So, very proudly and humbly, we welcome Dr. Vijay Madhavan ji to the show. Namaste, sir.
Namaskaram.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be part of Sankatha, a series of male dancers coming and conversing their journey and contribution to the field of art. Thank you, sir.
Uh, I do express the same for making this opportunity available to me, Sri Sagar. Thanks and to this Sankatha series for which you are putting in your heart, mind, and soul in making this happen. So, a big congratulations and well wishes to continue this further and take it to great heights. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Sir, as we all know, every dancer has one story which we probably can name it as a Purvashrama before becoming starting learning the training of dancing or the language of dance in a very formal way, what we can say as starting from our Tayadayi. Before that, being introduced to a guru, there is a very interesting story of everybody which we have been hearing from past 34 episodes. So we would like to hear what made you attract towards these jingles of the salangai and start dancing.
Okay. Treading back, okay, closer to 40 years or so, I was a student of music. Okay. Um, I was learning music from Neyveli Sri Santana Gopalan. Uh, Way back, he was in his college, and he used to be at home because my parents used to host a lot of musicians at home. So, and Santana Manna was one such a person or an associate who was very close to my family. So he was teaching music to both my sister and myself. So it was he who felt that I was more interested in dance. Okay, although my parents also used to say that I used to be dancing, looking at few images across the TV and all that, but they didn't know the know how to channelize that interest.
Yeah.
So it was he who introduced me to Srimati Priya Ramchand later, but she was then Miss Priya Raghuveer. So I started my dance career with Miss Priya Raghuveer, and she was a senior disciple of my guru, Srimati Chitra Vishweshwar. So once she got married and she left, I moved from there to my guru's umbrella. So after that, that was a brief learning for a couple of years, hardly or an around of somewhere 2 to 3 years. I would have learned with Srimati Priya Ramchan. Meanwhile, there were so many things like we moved to Bangalore then. My father had a transferable job, so we moved to Bangalore. So I was staying in Bangalore for only 2 years. In those 2 years, I was put up in Rajaji Nagar. My school was in Rajaji Nagar, and we were in Bachweshwara Nagar. So I used to learn from Prabhavati Shastri earlier, and then after a few days, I shifted to Padmini Ravi ma'am too. And all that happened within that 1 year. And then we got he got posted back to Chennai. So I joined my Guru Srimati Chitra Vishweshwar. So if you call the story is this that it was Santana Manna who made it happen, who had a vision. Uh, One thing which I feel I'm indebted to dancing is like many other male dancers, like there were a lot of questions why a male, as a male dancer, you want to continue dancing. This is not for guys and all that. So Priyambada Natarajan was all Priyas in my life, okay? Priyambada Natarajan was a colleague of Priya Raghuvi. So it
Oh,
was through her. Priyambada was also my guru's disciple, Chitra Vishwa's disciple. And it was her uh, father, Melatur Natarajan, who was seeking for male dancers to participate in Bhagavatam. So they approached me and they asked me if I could uh, just check if I can be a part of that thing. So once I went there, I felt the whole gamut of all female roles, male roles, everything only performed by male dancers. So
male dance.
there was a that need that to keep up the tradition alive. So
Yes.
that became a big focus for me that to be continuing dance and having the rigor to help the tradition and all that. And at that age, when I joined, I would have been probably in grade 9 or probably in 10th. So from that age, I've been performing. Before that itself, I started performing. So way back in 1989, there was a tele-serial that used to be done in Doordarshan by the name Swarabhushan. So
Mhm.
it was T.S. Balakrishna Shastrigal used to narrate a set of characters and episodes and relating to a temple and like that. So I acted also in that serial. I also did dance for the title song. So the title song was composed by veteran Sri Balamurli Krishna ji. So
Wow.
I had the opportunity to dance way back in 80s, late 80s on
Yeah.
Doordarshan. That's how the whole story started.
So it's been a long journey of you, Chennai to Bangalore to Chennai. But I think, meanwhile, it was almost the similar style what you have been fetching, like Padmini Ravi ma'ams, and then later to Chitra Vishweshwaran ma'ams. So I think it's all like, it's in the same kind of, paramparas which go in and out. So I think you didn't have that kind of a disconnect in between your learning, which you found. So, how was your interaction with Chitra ma'am? We all know that she's so kind as a teacher, I would say, and also a person who would give what is actually required for her students and treat each one with their potentials. So, how do you look at Chitra ma'am, and what are your how was your interaction with her, rather? I would say.
Uh, Pranams to my guru because Chitraka is everything to me when it comes to art because she was more a guru figure on art, a well-wisher, a guide. You cannot condense in a nutshell that she figured only in dance alone. I learned the way of life from her, the perspective of uh, a life lesson probably I learned from my at the feet of my guru. I'm very proud to say that I'm the psychologist association because you might feel that I didn't have a disconnect from A person to B person and to C person, but uh, from what I learned from my own initial lessons and the whole perspective that came from my guru is amazing. She could make, she could open the eyes in a stone mirror. So she had that quality. So she is a guru, but good.
I think very well said, because I think she's a very known personality amongst all of us in the fraternity of dance. So you're very lucky that way to be taking mentorship and tutelage under such a great guru. Slowly, when we see towards your contributions, it's something which we see you as a great performer in your youth, and your profile also says that you've been performing extensively in 90s, and bagged lot of youth awards. So how was your scene in 90s for supporting young male dancers at various different sabhas or festivals across?
Probably, if I need to really say black and white, um, male dancing, you find quite a bit of male dancers being featured in every festival. There has been an equipoise for organizers to male dancers. But really, way back in the early 90s, uh, it was really a struggle to just get even a slot uh,
Oh.
to platform because every organizer would just say the slot is open only for female dancers and sabas are looking out for male dancers. So sorry, I don't know. There was a technical glitch, I guess. Sorry.
Okay.
So you really need to lead me where we were. I lost connect. Um, in the 90s, it was not an easy thing to be featured, to get a chance to perform solos, even in festivals across. So if there were parallel festivals running in Chennai, probably it will be only one or two sabhas who are willing to throw slots open for male dancers. And
Male dancers.
during that time, very few male dancers were performing soloist. So, but you would see Dhananjay Master having a bandwagon of male dancers performing with him, and Tari sir also used to ensure that all his disciples got a slot and all that. So many times my guru has also attempted to feature me in female dominated scenes. Like she would have Raghuamsa Tilakam wherein it is no Aharya, no Nidra, no normal like Bharatanatyam attire, but they will have the girls will enact Rama, Sita, Hanuman. All the male characters are done by was one and only dancer in her system too. Okay, way back then we didn't have too many male dancers in our dance institution there. We really had few people who came in and went also. So uh, and somebody who had been there through thick and thin of my guru, Srimati Chitra Vishwanath, I think, so I can take the pleasure of telling that yes, I have spent quite a few years with her, and I was there till the college, and then I started even working. I was still continuing, and later also I was there, and I had toured doing Natwangam for her at a very young age. So
Oh,
that I consider a privilege because not many people get an opportunity that way to do Natwangam for a legend. So I have traveled wide like Germany, UK, Ireland, um, to France and all those places with my guru, doing Natwang for her and parallelly performing there too. So she made many things happen for me. So
very good. I think that's the essence of true guru which you have brought in. It's not about only teaching, but it's about shaping the whole
and you would
personality
like
of the
to
student. Yes, please, please go ahead.
very true. In icing on the cake opportunities. Like I have performed with Sri Guru Kelucharan Mohapotru. So Association at Music Academy. So we did a production called as Maitring Bajika, and
Hmm.
Kelu Baba did Crucify. So I was his. I played the role of his disciple and taking the message of Christ and taking it to the world, like those scenes and all. I think so. All that, all those things got enabled because of my guru,
Yeah.
and I have performed with Srimati. When my guru toured UK, so she also performed at so the next day there was a performance. So I and Anita Kar, we did it as a duet together. So such opportunity came my way, I think so, because of my guru. And I have performed at Nishaganti Festival and all that. You might be knowing that Shobana Chandrakumar is also a disciple of my guru. So I I hold her performances very dear to me, and I think so. As a blessing from a guru, she made it probably happen. Probably she would had a passive role, but she did make it happen for me.
That's a great thing. Um, After your learning and performing, yeah, amidst all these busy schedules, your mind and soul also diverted a little towards, researching in dancing. So I think today it's the call for the day. Nobody stops at doing MFA or MA in Bharatanatyam, but everybody wants to pursue a little extra and do their PhDs. But you did it long way ago. So how did the research kind of instinct come to you to do some kind of a research in architecture? Sorry, dance.
Actually, Sagar, if you talk about education, I have a roller coaster ride from so many fields. Um, Actually, I have done my bachelor's in psychology and education, I was working as a scientist at DSQ Biotech. Then I did my MBA and I was working for tertiary operations and I was posted in Chicago. I was working in LaSalle Bank as a treasury derivatives and caps and flows and all that. And it was more on risk management, market risk and all that.
Okay.
Parallel was keeping my dance alive. Later, I moved back to Chennai and I was there with ABN AMRO. And I also worked for Standard Chartered late. After that, only I gave up all that and took to dance completely. And that's when I started then I also did my PhD in dance. So my PhD, my doctoral degree was text dance, Sanskrit text, and Sanskrit dance literature text across time. How evolution has happened on same. So it was a PhD with which I did from Sri Chandrasekharendra Vishwa Mahavidyalaya. And
Vishwan.
thanks to my guide, Dr. Shankar Narayan Ji, who guided me for this project. So he made it happen. So that's about it. So if you ask me, I have a wide range of subjects. So from science to risk management or treasury operations
Oh my.
to Sanskritam and to dance. Big, worked as a professor in science department. So
That's great, sir. So, it's just a common question to you. If we are doing a research in dance, what are the basic, requirements or characteristics a student or a researcher need to have if he's pursuing research in dance?
okay. See, since I'm on the doctoral committee of several universities, okay, I find one thing very difficult to convince a dancer. A dancer comes for okay. Research is not a performance. Research has to be substantiated. Okay, if you're going to say something, it should not look. It's something which can be choreographed. You can't bring in such topic. You have to talk about topic which can be substantiated as facts, and you can infer from facts. So many times, whenever I have had researched, it would be a good production thought. So there is always, and second thing, every performance we read quite a bit. In fact, we read so much so that it is a research process, but it ends up as a creative process. See, I do tate teta, I do teha tehi. I, but in research you have to say why you do tate teta, why you do teha tehi. So for that you need to substantiate it and say. So the creative process can never be told as a research thing. So this dichotomy I've always talked to my students and I've told them like think differently and second thing basically dance if you go into dance research people are going into that's when I was really felt uh, there was something missing here. If you see a music PhD, they would have analyzed a lot of composers and their ability to present one raga differently. How he started, if you take Tyagaraja's Karagarapriya, he would have started in every note of in Ramani Samanam Evaru in one thing. Like that, every note he has done that and he has made that Raga Chaya come in. So they have documented thing available to quote and say. Unfortunately, in dance, that documentation is really bad. In a country like this, documentation for dance choreography is really pathetic because we have lost so many gurus and we have not arrival at Sangeet Natak Academy level wherein they have just taken Pandanallur Vadi or Kitapas as Vadi wherein they have presented the dance class, their students to that extent. But they have not documented the entire creative component of those gurus.
Process.
We have already lost quite a bit. The Kitapas at across time would have created so many uh, Vardhams, so many Tillanas, so many contributions. Everything was a gem. Everything was a gem. We should have documented it. So, and the problem about visual documentation is it's very expensive. And second thing, it has a very shelf life is also very uh, limited.
Less.
Uh, Earlier, whenever we used to dance, we used to have VHS tape. Then they moved to CD. Then it came to DVDs. Now people are later that. So cataloging is a problem. Individual positions don't come into an archive system. So all these only led to the whole thing, Natyagraphy. Like why not we document and make it available as a book format, something which is readable. Dance on paper is what. So in that system to document it, because dance per se, okay, it is guru to Sishya and for the Sishya to uh, hand it over to the next generation.
Yes.
So if the Shishya is not able to continue dance, or there are everybody's life has got plus and minus things, ups and downs in it. If they are not able to take to the art form, the whole repository of knowledge that Guru has transferred us,
Stops there.
has siphoned to them, is lost. And like a stream like dance, way back they didn't have so many. A guru could mold probably 5 or 6 dancers across time during their lifetime. If they are extremely popular, then 5 or 6 successful dancers. So many geniuses who would have been sitting with just one student, and that student also would not have continued the art. So that becomes a challenge, right? So, so Natagapi is an effort to bring up, to revive tradition or keep it alive. So make it known to people that yes, you have to write dance, you have to learn dance. Even if you don't know for it and all that. So I keep reiterating people that you have to be Natyagrafi literate in the future, because every student who's going into music, they learn all the notations, sarigama patsa. Not that they are able to notate every word or everything they sing, but basic, at least that much they should know. And dance banis, everybody tend to say, every teacher takes to say defend, say my style is different, my style is like this, your style is this, and all that. But ultimately, looking good for the art form at large. So it need not be your guru, it need not be your teacher, it need not be your tradition which has contribution of all gurus. I think so. Every dancer should join hand and make it happen because we know Saint Tyagaraja. We can talk of Purandara Dasa. You can talk of Mysore Sadashivaram. So many people because all their works have got documented. Can you tell me one guru who was a Nattuvanar during Tyagaraja's time? One Chapakesa Nattuvanar or one Nattuvanar of that time who have given their life for the art form because of which we are enjoying, we are still dancing, no? So I
Very
think
true.
so. We all have the responsibility to respect them for what they have contributed. So their contribution is this creative genius of creating an item. So an item gets documented. So I go, I collect like a bee. I have visited every dance school, the Parampariya school, and tried to collect, ask them to share. They will not be interested to share at the first place. I would have traveled at least 15-20 times to that household to get one item that is
Right.
remnant of that guru. Like that, I have collected like Jatiswaram dance choreography. The musically book Kalyani Jatiswaram, it's written by Tanju Portrait. It's there, but how the whole has been viewed by Sri Kittappa sir, how it has been viewed by Rajendran Pillai sir, how the same Kalyani has been choreographed by uh, Rukmini Devi Amma, like that. So when I actually went through Ragamalika Jatishwaram, the Ragamalika Jatishwaram that is being taught at Kalakshetra, it is something closer to 170 years of living tradition. So So that really raises a brow when you say that those numbers because coming from Sabapati Pillai sir's time that this choreography is remaining intact. So all these analysis is just possible only if you learn Natya and you understand. So the adavas are just the same in different schools. In fact, Kitapa sir's worry they are doing the same thing, but the adavas are same. They do dittai, tai tai, dittai. Whereas here they'll do dittai, tai tai, dittai. So dittai and dittai is a very small difference between them.
Aksharam is same.
So
Yeah.
superficially, if you see, you will see if, when you're looking at dance, no, you don't have like the minute you see that's what you understand. You are not able to understand a course or the imprint choreography. The blueprint of the choreography you will get to understand if you see a Natakasi in paper. So the entire Jatisharam is there. So you will know the whole pattern just by looking at it. So I feel if at all dance researchers are looking at dance, I strongly feel they should all learn Natigraphy and at least see how best you can start doing research on dance, not on literature. No longer please do what Andals think can be done, Sai Baba, and talking about Akka Mahadevi's vachanas and how they can be interpreted, what are all the uh, uh, openings available to interpret all that. It's all literature. There are Kannadiga people, Kannada literature people ready to do it. There are Tamil literature people who are involved in doing it. So let's concentrate more on yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So that's a great thing which you are doing. But can this natyography be also computer coded? I mean, it's just a question.
Yes, yeah. This is digital world, Sagar. So recently I did a project on Tagore. It was instituted under Tagore Scholarship by Ministry of Culture, wherein I have documented both Jatishwarams and Tillanas that are performed in Kalakshetra and have been choreographed by Rukmini Devi Arundel ji. So ultimately it was five Jatishwarams and closer to eight Tillanas and nine Tillanas. So all that have been coded computer friendly. We took, if you want, I can even show you. Probably have to fetch it. So I can show you the whole print. It is printable.
Oh,
It is shareable as a PDF.
okay. So, how do
So
we
it's
get
the
into
first book
this?
of its kind in the dance world.
Yeah, that's what I
First
know, and
time
we
a
are proud
dance
of.
book. Uh, Tell me again, Sagar. Pardon me.
No, 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 you please continue. Continue.
Sagar, could you post your question again? Uh,
Am I
no,
audible to you
I
now?
just told that it is the first book of its kind in the dance world. Dance world has not seen a book of this kind. Huh?
Yeah, that's true. So, how my question was, how do we
The
get into
choreography of
learning
dance
this
movements
choreography?
all given in a book form.
How do we start learning this natyagraphy?
How? Okay. Natyography actually is just three levels in it. But it takes only basic learning is 15 hours. There are only three levels in Natyography. Level 1, we introduce something called as the feet and movement curves. Okay. And at the level 2, we introduce something called as hand maps. Okay, we map at the third level. You will learn about space orientation and the space within the x-axis of the y-axis of the body. So the internal spacing or the level of height and across the dimension that is given to you. So space and space body orientation is what we learn at the third level. So done each level is done as a workshop also individually. So institutions who are really interested, we go there and teach. We go and teach because earlier it was done on we go to an institution, we conduct training for all the students, and then we enable their learning. So that's how it was happening. But due to this corona and all that COVID situations, we had to suspend the whole thing right now. But now that things are relaxing, we are still looking for workshops again, workshop mode, because workshop mode works better because online mode it is available, but um, there are a lot of doubts. People find it challenging. Some it's written down, so there is a particular way that things are written and the way you have to assimilate it. So it is better when it is trained. But very perfect because they pick like this. The youngsters really pick it very fast. Huh? So I have
That's very
always wondered. 10 years I have put in for this effort and created this, but 10 minutes is sufficient for a young mind to learn it.
Are there any prerequisites like when you start learn? When do we start doing natyagraphy? Do we have to like finish the basic course like Adavu and Alaripu, or should we take some 3 4 years training in Bharatanatyam and then start documenting natyagraphy? How does it? When does it actually start in the learning process?
Okay. Uh, when I do workshops. Okay, when I do workshops, I tell if they have completed adavus, it is good enough that you can start learning nautigraphy.
Oh,
When I do a workshop, but once the teacher learns it, she can start introducing it to her students at a basic level as and when they do the adavus.
hmm.
And I also, Vijay Madhavan is requires so many hands to be together to make this happen, sir. So all those teachers who have enrolled in the program, I look forward to them in taking this to the next step that they can make it part and parcel of their dance learning.
Teaching
So that it
methodology.
will be great. But initially it will be one session or a one workshop wherein they can have with teachers and students all together. And from then on, the teacher can take the lead and make it available to her students at a regular basis.
Yeah. So just I think it might be a very lame question to ask you, but how do we compare Natyography documentation to a normal
So
video
ideally
documentation?
speaking,
Hello? Yeah. Natyography compared to a normal video
okay,
documentation. What is the difference?
one
Normally, I
a
can
few
take the video of my guru
things
dancing.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got your question. Yeah. The thing is, when you see a video, okay, there is lot of a personal bias in a mind, Sagar. Okay, a Kalakshetra person looks forward to a Kalakshetra way of dancing.
Yeah.
Few schools, especially not just a Kalakshetra, even including me. Okay, we have so many biases in our mind that only a tall person can dance, only a mid-range person can dance, obese person should not dance, or she's too fair, or she's too dark. All that comes into our mind when you see a carrier. I say in a video you have a carrier, and that has a positive thing, that has a negative.
Negative.
You don't
Yeah.
know whether you would like to see that person because that person is performing. Okay. Whereas in an artist, you don't have any person there. You just have pure dance. You see dance. For you to interpret dance. So Natyography is devoid of carrier. So you look for only the merit or physique.
I think that's a very
You
good
need not be appeasing.
positive
You need
point
not
which you
have
have
a
put in.
zero size thing.
Very true. My next question is, how has it been received in the fraternity of dance, this Natyography as a technique of codifying movements in Bharatanatyam? It's such a great contribution, and I think it's an upcoming field which we can also, like, conceptualize and integrate ourselves and internalize it, rather, I would say, and develop on it. As you rightly said, that's why you require all dancers to support and take this as a technique rather than a gift from, or a technique, or a learned lesson from Vijay sir and then you implement it. It's not possible because our teachings will be different. It's a technique which you are telling, and that technique has to be imbibed by us to document whatever we dance in us. So how is it being received across?
Um, I have done quite a bit of workshops across Chennai and across Tamil Nadu. Around 600 to 850 students right now who are Natyakarthi literate, and they can dance. They can write or read Natyakarthi in Tamil Nadu. And I have done dance institutions at Kerala too. But Karnataka side, I'm yet to start. So Tamil Nadu, there's quite a bit of schools who are doing it and who are interested also in doing. I'm yet to have channels there from. See, it is again, everybody feels that I wouldn't say they are wanting to learn. It's not that they're not wanting to learn. There is enough reception for it, but everybody is looking at a performing level, and
Mm.
they feel narratography is more an academic level. So that academic and performance thing is what we have to convince them, or we have to make them know. But actually, I feel there are more serious dancers in Karnataka too. Quite a bit of serious dancers. So, in fact, in one of the jatras also I presented Natyagraphy. So, yes. And I've been teaching in few institutions there. So those students had learned Natyagraphy. So, like that it's on.
That's a good thing. I think it requires any
So
movement
there
for
is
that
another,
matter. It requires
because
its
this
own
needs.
pace to, take its, the way it is going to happen in future. So we wish you all the best, and we also look for your keen learning of natyagraphy because it's so important to document, as you rightly very efficiently raised the question of documentation and lack of documentation for the researchers to substantiate their work, which is a major requirement which we are having today. And hope your natyography would fulfill these requirements. Going back to the other part of your, as a dancer, we do performances, and you've been doing performances across. So, what is your choice when you perform? What are all the kind of choices you make in terms of, it could be accepting performing in any kind of a place, to the items you select, musicians, and the kind of audience you expect.
Okay, obviously every dancer tunes a bit of their show to make it happen. So obviously, but I also amalgamate quite a bit of new thoughts in the whole thing. Like I do a lot of research, so okay, obviously I don't need to say no that I do research. So I have presented few things like a Vainathian. I brought up the Indonesian script, which is called as Kavi script. The way
Oh,
Mahabharata Indonesia, and I have presented that to be one of the few, instead of a normal Vritham, I have used that
okay.
Vritham, uh, tuned it, and have presented it like that. So we try to make it quite interesting with all these things, and like that. Now Malay, I don't know. Murumu Abhirami is a work wherein Abhirami and Dade has been earlier. It has been in Malay also. So
Oh,
getting that Malay version of the whole thing, I have presented like that. So I have taken such interest in presenting show and perform outside. Obviously, we try to rope in any local dialect or kind of such work so that it pleases the audience more,
correct.
and also certain musically inclined numbers wherein you don't need to understand if it is ding ta na na na, you don't need to understand any message from them. Ding ta na na na, ding ta na na na. Such
Correct.
numbers to make it appealing.
Okay. So I think we would go with one last question, which is related to your teaching. You've been a researcher and a teacher. So I would like to know, uh, would you provoke your students to, like, kind of, instill some kind of researching habits? Because a professional research, because every production we do is kind of a research, as you rightly mentioned, but still, professional research instills skills need to be instilled by a guru in pursuing dance. So, do you have you put in some effort in your regular dance classes for students to promote them to take up some kind of a research in dance, like once they progress in life?
How much ever we enthuse our dance students, like to propel themselves to something which they would want. See, so my primary leg or the school I have created is Rechitan Vidyalaya. So I have a lot of performers. I have a lot of people who are involved in documentation. They all understand narratography. They all go through all my works, all that. I have a set of university students so they come with already, they've learned from some other teacher, they come and learn. They learn. And I have a set of students whom I'm guiding for research. Okay, wherein wherever I guide them for research. So all are my students, but purely my student, hybrided student, and acquainted students. So like that, we have different classes. So all things are taken care at various levels.
That's great to know. Yeah, I think you profoundly named the students and category of students you deal with, because, I think that clarity is also very important. What the students are expecting from us as a teachers. So I think, I don't know how this 1 hour went on. It was really a nice eye opener towards a major question, which is documentation in the field of dancing, which is like, the need of the hour. And as you rightly said, it's been missing from a long, long time. And your contribution of natyography, I think, should be patented, or if it is already, then I think it's really a good effort and a great effort in the field of Bharatanatyam, that we follow it and imbibe it and practice it and make it more a kind of, a documentation to which is available to everybody to take on further research in the field of dancing. And thank you so much for being part of Sankatha. And it's been a great journey of yours, which is ongoing. And you've been a great performer, research scholar, teacher, and a multi-talented personality dedicated completely to dance, which is something which is very, very rare to find. Because we might practice dance and do medicine, and we practice architecture and do dancing, or you do a bank job and do dancing and things like that. But you have found a lot of ways in dancing itself as to how we can get involved in various different facets of dancing, be it research, be it performance, be it teaching. I think you are a personality which we all need to follow in that kind of rigor and aspirations drawn from a personality like you. Thank you, Vijay sir, thank you so much. And we look out for more and more association and workshops and more explorations of natyography in the state of Karnataka and worldwide. So it becomes a very successful technique which we all can imbibe and make the field of dance more richer and more documented.
Thank you very much, Sagar, and all the best for your efforts in Sankatha. And may this show take up to great shape and reach great heights. My best wishes for you and your endeavor. Thanks, Sagar, for enabling this opportunity. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Namaste, everybody.